If you have been trying to do something and have been struggling with consistency, this video is absolutely for you. You are not behind other people. You just have a very wrong idea about what consistency looks like. Here's the correct way of looking at consistency. People think showing up every day is consistency, and they are not wrong, but they aren't completely right. They are missing a very vital part of this entire equation of consistency. You see, showing up every single day is consistency, but consistency is not all just about showing up every day. People burn up through their sources of motivation energy just to try and stick to this ideal of showing up every single day. The result? People fall off their journey which they had started for business, self-improvement, whatever, and then they beat themselves up for not being consistent. If this sounds like you, listen up. You have no faults. You don't need to change yourself, but you need to change the idea you have about consistency. Consistency is simple. Just don't quit. Just not quitting is enough to call you consistent. Every time I started a habit and then I went on a trip with my family, what happened was I would try to keep up with this ideal of ticking all the days on the calendar, even on the trip. And trying to stick with this habit while on the trip ruined the enjoyment of the trip for me. And anyways, as the flow broke down, the momentum stopped, I would miss a few days of the habit, then I would get demotivated and I would quit the habit altogether. You know why? Because I was trying to put a tick mark on every single day of the calendar. Trying to keep up with this ideal is not only inefficient, but it also affects your mental health negatively. You keep overthinking about this habit and you aren't even able to meet the demands of your potential. In short, you gain nothing but lose everything. You lose your mental health, you lose your enjoyment, and in exchange you gain absolutely nothing. But imagine after taking a 5-day gap from this habit, you come back to this habit. You would call yourself inconsistent, but is that right? That right there, my friend, is consistency. Simply not quitting and starting again all over if required is consistency. You might think there is a time limit to this. How can you call yourself consistent if you restart the thing after taking a 2-year gap? But it all depends on the time frame you're looking at the situation in. If you think in the short term, sure, you are very inconsistent. You are taking a 2-year gap. Even a 2-week gap would look like inconsistency to you if you're thinking of the short term. But I suggest you expand your thinking, you expand your time frame and think not in hours, minutes, days and months, but in lifetimes. When you start thinking about the time frame of lifetime, everything just suddenly becomes all about not quitting, just ignoring what other people have to say about consistency and starting all over from the beginning is what matters. Simply don't quit and start again from scratch after the break that you have had from the habit. Look, every attempt you make towards your goal is counted. How can you dismiss all the progress that you have made just because you missed a week of this habit? If I missed a week of uploading YouTube videos and a guy would randomly call me inconsistent, what this guy really is saying that all my previous videos are non-existent, which is simply not a fact. Don't devalue your past experience because that is part of the progress. You never really restart, no matter how long of a time gap that you have taken, because now you know how to start because you have started before. In this long time gap that you have experienced, you have not forgotten a full 100% of whatever you did back then. And so, since you know how to start because you have done it once, starting again becomes much more easier than the last time you started. When I came back to YouTube after taking a step back from it in 2023, it was 1 year since I had uploaded my last video. But starting this time round was much more easier because I knew how to place the camera, which setting it was to be on, how to place my laptop, how to place the lights. I knew a lot of different things about starting out. It's like learning how to ride a bicycle. You never really truly 100% forget it. Even when you aren't working, the past experiences of your habit get stored and processed inside the brain. And even if you don't really start these habits again, the past experiences will still be there inside your brain as learning lessons or stories that you will tell other people. Basically, if you start this habit again in the future, you have the user manual for starting, and so starting becomes much more easier. So why don't you start? A car requires the highest power, the highest torque, not in high speeds, but for starting. And you already have that power with you, so why not use it? Quitting just because you missed a bunch of days does not make sense. Consistency is all about using this starting knowledge the knowledge for you to start this habit all over again. Consistency is all about this. Consistency is all about how quickly you can rebound from this relapse that you've had. Now, of course, that does not justify that you be complacent. You can't intentionally take days off from your work. No matter how powerful this knowledge to start is, you still need to reach higher speeds. So don't forget the ideal of daily wins, but at the same time, don't beat yourself up when you don't achieve it. It's just like using GPS. When driving a car, you use GPS to get the direction, but you don't stare at the GPS and drive just by looking at the GPS. You look outside the windshield. The GPS just does not give you enough information to be able to drive safely on the road. And so you have to look outside the windshield in real life as well. Look at your current self, your current performance, the current state that you're in, and not beat yourself up over this ideal that you've had. Have the ideal week in your mind. Try to achieve this ideal week in your mind, but not in the short-term game, in the long-term game. Make slow incremental gains until you reach your ideals. Your ideals should not justify your mood, but your ideals should give you direction. Each movement, each iteration, each change, each upgrade that you make to your habit should be directed toward this ideal goal. The ideal goal in this case is a full 100% consistency, which means not skipping a day. And play the long-term game in this one because that's more sustainable. You are breaking years or months worth of negative habit forming. So you can't just randomly expect to break free from these shackles that you put on yourself. It's a slow process. It doesn't work like that. Progress from zero takes a lot of time. And so to make progress towards this ideal self, you will have to focus not on this ideal itself, but on the process that takes you there. First time you might miss 1 year. The second time you might miss 4 months. The next time you might miss 1 month. And then slowly and surely this time lag between the last time that you did the habit and the time that you're restarting the habit just shrinks and shrinks. And the ideal is to not have any time lag between the time when you stop and restart. And eventually going towards that goal, slowly but surely, is what brings real consistency. Take it slow, take practical steps to go towards that long-term goal of consistency and not short-term flex material. This is how you level up in the game of consistency. Simple. They look at habits as their streaks. This is why I am against full gamification of your life. Sure, looking at life like a video game is good. It's pretty good. But streaks don't necessarily reward you in the long time game. People fall off their streaks, in simple words, because they try to make streaks. Starting takes a lot of power. And if on top of that you add this power expenditure of just pushing through and hitting every day, forming 5 day, 6 day, 10 day streaks, it takes a lot of power as well. And suddenly you are out of power. And on the flip side, if you take it slow and just don't rush things, what happens is you automatically will use this power much more efficiently. So don't focus on making streaks initially as you are starting out. Accept that you will miss a bunch of days, bunch of weeks, or required even months. But focus back on this gradual climb that leads you toward that ideal of 100% streak. What does successful consistency look like? From all the high performers that I listen to on podcasts, consistency is not a problem for them. They have been playing the long game for a really long time, and so now consistency is not a major problem for them because it is part of their habits. Does that mean that they're naturally gifted to be consistent without efforts? No, they are now consistent because of the effort that they have been putting in the long run. The difference between the person who falls off and these high performers is that these high performers fell off as well, but they did not quit. They restarted their habits. They restarted whatever that they had to do. Just getting back to the habit once you sort of fall off from the habit is what builds this massive empire of consistency. And these high performers did exactly that. Just take this from this video if you might. Consistency is like building a tower out of leaves. It takes a lot of time, effort, and dedication to build true consistency. So be patient and don't use up all your energy just to put up a 1 week streak in your Discord profile. If you want a lifetime streak, you can't have it. Guess why? Because you are not at that level yet. And to get to that level, you will have to keep practicing this art of restarting from zero. Always remember this. Just not quitting makes you consistent. No matter what happens, just do not quit. And by do not quit, I don't mean to say that you won't miss any single day. No, you will miss days. You will miss months. You will even miss years from this habit that you're trying to build, from this business that you're trying to build, from this self-improvement stuff that you're trying to do. But accept that, because you need to level up in this game of consistency before you can reach that level. You can't demand for a high level of achievement before you put in the efforts. You need to put years of hard work and dedication into this to build true consistent to the point that consistency is not even a problem for you. And to do that, just get back to the task that's waiting even after you fall off. As long as there's another day to live for, there's another attempt to be made. And this attempt is what counts.